Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel Bunny on Bike. This time I am riding to Coorg. Coorg is also known as Madikeri in Kannada. It is also known as Scotland of India, mainly due to its vast stretches of lush greenery, beautiful rolling hills and numerous freshwater bodies. Coorg, with its misty climate and hill station environment, is mostly having pleasant weather throughout the year, makes a perfect holiday destination with friends and family with lots of sightseeing places around. There are two shortest routes you can take to reach Coorg from Bengaluru. One is via Mysuru and the route 2 is via Chandrapatna. Both the routes are of the same distance, however, I took the route 2 as the route via Mysuru is always crowded. On the way, there were few interesting places like Kaveri Nisargadama, Dubara Elephant Camp, Bailkuppe Tibetan Settlement. But I skipped all of these and reached Coorg directly because my point of interest this time were waterfalls and other places which I haven't covered. Mercury Fort was built in the mid of 17th century by a king called Mudduraja. It is a palace inside a fort structure. Currently it is used as a deputy commissioner's office. It's a free entry to the fort. You can take a complete round walk on the walls of fort. However, entry inside the palace was restricted as it was under maintenance. On one corner of the fort, there are two life-size masonry elephants. The complete structure is well maintained with beautiful lawns and gardens throughout. There is one post box which is dedicated to the palace. It was a great sight to see a good old days post box in this modern era. On the other corner of the fort there is a church. This church is also used as a museum which houses some of the stone sculptures, scripts and weapons used by the kings back then. Next, I went to Rajasthan, which is also known as Rajaragadduge in Kannada. The entry fee was just about 10 rupees per person. The monument contains the mortal remains of royal Kodavas. Kodava is a community which most of the native Coorg people belong to. Their culture, tradition, customs and language are different from other parts of the Karnataka. The tombs are of Mughal structures built for Kodava kings who were Hindus. And there is a Lord Shiva placed inside and worshipped with Nandi statues on top of each pillar. The tomb is surrounded with well-maintained garden and park areas. You can see a lot of people taking their evening walk and kids playing in the park. Next I went to Raja's Seat. This is basically a viewpoint garden. A lot of tourists come here to see the sunrise or sunset in the viewpoint. I was right on time to enjoy the sunset from the viewpoint. It was just spectacular. Right outside the Raja Seat garden, there is a chat street and a flea market. You can savor some of the delicious chats and homemade chocolates. Next morning, I went to Abhi waterfalls, which is about 8 kilometers from the city center. You have to go down by 100 steps to see the waterfalls. The falls is about 70 feet high and people are restricted to get into the water. I was on my way to Malali waterfalls, which is about 60 kilometers from Madikeri. The road through forests and estates were really just amazing. I just enjoyed riding solo, listening to my favorite music all through these roads. As I crossed few villages, there was no mobile network. The final 5-kilometer stretch towards Malali waterfalls was really bad, with rough patches, but it's all worth it. The view of the waterfalls from the top was just spectacular. You have to go down by 500 steps to get the closer look of the waterfalls. However, entry to the water was restricted due to safety norms. After enjoying the spectacular view of the falls, climbing up 500 steps was the toughest part. Our leg workout for next 5 days is done. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and also follow me on Instagram.